Hi, and welcome to the S.J. Childs Show. I'm your host, S.J. Childs. S.J. Childs Show brings value to families through education, resources, and lots of laughs. You can find us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also find our special children's books at sjchilds.org. Thank you for all of those who have hosted me on your podcasts. Enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to the S.J. Childs Show. I'm your host, S.J. Childs, and today I have a very special guest, Michael Stein. He is coming all the way from Los Angeles, California, or somewhere sunny maybe.
I live in Georgetown, Texas now.
He's in Texas, and he told me that yesterday, but I still just imagined him in California, right? So
it's the 310 cell phone number. I never get rid of the cell phone
number.
That's
what it is.
But I've been in Georgetown, Texas. That's where I'm at right now. I've been out here for 10 years, but I go back to LA all the time because I was born and raised in Encino. That's my home.
Yeah, nice. And I'd love to talk about, obviously we're going to talk about a few great topics today, but for those who don't know who you are, which shouldn't be many, tell us who you are and what you have been doing.
Well, Michael Stein. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an actor, a filmmaker, a stand-up comedian. But you are talking to me at my place of work, which is ABADAC, which is the incorporation name, which is an acronym. It stands for A Better Atmosphere, dedicated to all kind. I'm here because I started a podcast called Long Shot Leaders, and we interview people that have overcome large obstacles to find success. I have a long line of coming from a long line of long shots. I'm a long shot myself. I shall tell you about some of those if you'd like to hear about it.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So my grandmother escaped the Russian concentration camps when they were coming to America. My dad was a New York street kid who was homeless, who made millions of dollars in the early 70s, only to find himself homeless again. I myself was born 2 months premature. I was an oops baby. I had health issues. They didn't have a diagnosis for ADHD, but I was something I learned that I had later on. I had also dyslexia. I had focusing issues and very poor health, in and out of the hospital when I was young. And the only success I really had when I was younger was to get people to laugh at me. So that was a bit of success. So when it really changed for me, because everything else was like, always trying, my mom tried to put me in sports, but that wasn't working. And then when I was 9 or 10 years old, I saw the movie Rocky, which made a big impact on me for underdogs and everything else. And then I saw there's a guy like me. He says that he's not smart. Everybody says he's not smart. And he was never really considered a winner. The only difference between Rocky and myself was that he was physically fit and I was not. So then every day since then, I made physical fitness part of my life. When I was 16 years old, I became a physical fitness trainer. And then I had my second bit of success, people laugh at you. And then things started to happen from there. So I, became a stand-up comedian when I was 19 years old. I wanted to become an entrepreneur and an actor and a filmmaker when I was graduating high school. My high school tutor said, why don't you work with your hands? Because not everybody's meant to do what they want to do. So 2 days later, I started my business. And 2 weeks later, I folded it because I failed miserably. And I said, wait, could you be right? I don't know. I've been successful at stand-up comedy as a young guy. I've been successful as a physical fitness trainer. I mean, could it be like everything else? Time plus effort equals success, right? So I then went to City College, took acting, theater and psychology and business. So then I started another business shortly thereafter. I was a nightclub promoter. Became the number one nightclub promoter in Los Angeles for my age bracket. Back then I was 16 to 22 years old. And from then I've had a lot of ups and downs and successes, more successes than, as a filmmaker. I left my nightclub business, which was very lucrative, and I wanted to be a filmmaker, and I had tons of failures and successes. I won a lot of awards. My first acting role was playing, when I was 21 years old, I was playing Dirk Diggler in the Dirk Diggler Story, which is the short film version to Boogie Nights, which I appear in as well. And then I said, I'm going to do what my friend Paul did, and I'm going to put all my money and time into filmmaking. And then I had won a lot of awards, but I didn't get a movie deal. Had every, deal in Hollywood, they wanted to talk to me about making movies. And it didn't happen. So I said, I'm going to make my own movie. By this time, I was broke and in debt. So then I said, I need to start a business, this business right here, which was in 2000. And I started it to make money for a film that no one was ever going to let me make. So I started this business, and within 6 months, I made $500,000. And I made a film called Love Hollywood Style with Faye Dunaway, Andy Dick, and Coolio, and many other actors you've seen. Wrote, directed, produced, and acted. Because when no one's going to let you do anything, you might as well just do what you want to do. And
you have to.
So
100%. I agree.
So after that, it nearly, bottomed out the business that I just created. And I fell in love during that film process because it took me 3 years to make that movie. And after that, I said, I got 2 kids. And I said, you know what? I'm either going to take the path of passion or opportunity, because my whole life has been going towards passion. So I took opportunity. I grew this business. It's made over $100 million. And the business has grossed over $100 million. I haven't netted $100 million. That would be kind of cool too.
Yeah.
I'm working. It's going in that direction.
It's a goal, right?
Yeah, that's right. So here I am. Kids are getting a little older. And am I going to do stand-up comedy again? Am I going to get back into filmmaking? Because my kids have spent time with me. As you know how it's like to have kids. They're like, I've given them all my time. And now they're starting to get, they're like, Dad, we don't need as much time as you want to give us. So I started a podcast.
Find some hobbies, Dad.
Right. So I started a podcast that, fits my personality, which interviews people that have overcome large obstacles to find success. And it's called Long Shot Leaders. And I'm starting to get back into more of the other things outside, including my business, but things of that nature. And that's why I'm here today.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that fabulous information. It's fantastic. I'm glad you did it and that didn't make me do it. No, that's great. Well, and it just really, I'm so glad you're here because there's so many subjects we can touch on, dyslexia, ADHD. As I said, I have a son with autism, and ADHD falls so closely within those realms of dysregulation, right? And it's so interesting. And I don't know if you know or not, but I actually wrote some children's books about dyslexia, autism, physical differences, anxiety, and Down syndrome. That's it. And so I really want to get the message to children in the early education field that it's okay to have these challenges. It's just a different way of living. We need to be accepting. We need to not try to change people's way of living. We need to change ourselves and our expectations and really just, bring them all the support we can. Yeah.
I agree. It's interesting. Hearing you talk about this, you said you were only child. I was the youngest child in a large family. And my older sister, she became a child psychologist.
Oh.
Mainly because she said because of me. Because I was quiet when I was supposed to be speak up. I was loud when I was supposed to be quiet. Very impulsive, very hyper, and there was no rhyme or reason to what I would do sometimes. And I thought that maybe it was a gift and a curse, but I never really knew that there was something. I thought I was special in a good way.
You were.
I thought I'm unique. I thought I'm like, maybe I'm making people laugh. Maybe, and because I grew up in LA and everybody's like an eccentric, artist anyways.
Yeah.
So I really think that was a blessing. I think that's kind of like that. And also the blessing was when I became an adult, somebody about 6 years ago said, you have ADHD. I said, you're ridiculous. I think that you're just, and then I kind of looked into it and I said, whatever, because I don't want to, in Yiddish and Jewish, is it give yourself a kanahora, give yourself a jinx. I didn't want to, cop to it,
Yeah.
But I think it was important to be cognizant of it, whatever ADHD is, because they can't really put you under a microscope and say, look, but I said, whatever that is, it appears that I have a lot of that.
It fits the mold. No, I get it. about 5 years ago, my son's been diagnosed for a decade with autism. And so I've been looking at it, scrutinizing it closely under the view of my child. And about 5 years ago, we were going to do an IQ test for my son. And I had to once again fill out the ADOS test, which is the autism score sheet. And during the process, I was thinking, oh, husband, check. And so I brought it to him, and I also had the opportunity to read his neuropsych evaluation from when he was 8 or 9 years old, also diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD. And I went to him and said, you have Asperger's. I'm 100% positive. And he is he's very quiet. He's never ever loud. So he's different in that aspect, that he doesn't display those loud, or overexcitability like me and you. And so he has this quiet, logical pattern thinking. He's a spray paint artist. So it's like he sees things before they exist. I don't know how that is possible. I tried spray painting once, and 45 minutes later, I came up with the color blue. So that didn't work out for me quite well.
Is it like graffiti? Is it like graffiti art or?
Well, he does art like nature scenes. So he does more than just graffiti art. I'll show you a tiny picture, because I don't have a huge one. But this is Doug the Dyslexic Duck. And he did the artwork for this book. You made this book? Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, okay, got it.
So he spray paints like nature scenes or planets and pyramids, just all the stuff you see like on a YouTube channel spray painter, it's all this exciting stuff. So
you have a lot of books of that. How many books have you done?
7. Thank you so much. Yeah, 7 books. And my 8-year-old, she's 9 now. She has dyslexia. She's actually going to be tested for autism next month. So I have a gamut of creative, amazing. I call it my beautiful chaos, because it really is. It's amazing. But she actually illustrated her own book when she was 8, and we published it for her because she's an incredible illustrator at such a little age. So hands down, creative family.
Well, it was important. My daughter was diagnosed with ADHD, my younger one. And it was important for me to create associations to be cognitive of whatever the disadvantages might be, but then to create associations of whatever her superpowers, as they call it, might be, right? So then to reinforce those and say, look, this is who you are, because when you focus on a direction and your vocabulary is saying that you are that direction and your physiology puts you in that's a triad of emotions, and you're most likely going to achieve whatever that recipe is by that triad. So I try to let her know, I said, if you're going to believe all those things, you might as well believe the other thing. And, and then you try to substantiate it with, look at Albert Einstein was,
Absolutely.
They said he had ADHD.
I always say that. And autism too. And, I was just telling someone the other day, I shared a quote from Dan Aykroyd that said he was diagnosed with Asperger's in the 80s, and his obsession with ghosts and police, he carried around like a little badge with him all the time. And so his wife is like, you've got to go get diagnosed. And he was diagnosed with Asperger's, but that's what was the creativity behind Ghostbusters. I mean,
wow.
Our amazing minds. Isn't that cool? I just found that out the other day. And I don't think I'm surprised that you're one of the people I might have thought would know that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I didn't, but I'm going to get some mileage out of that.
Yeah, right? It's really cool. Right. I mean, and I wish I had it near me. I write lots of notes down all the time. I'm a note taker. And so my husband and I were going over kind of the list of, historical famous people that have autism. And I mean, it was 25, 30 people named, list long of incredible people. Daryl Hannah. And I'm trying to maybe not Tom Hanks, or it's somebody. It's there.
Maybe it wasn't Tom Hanks.
Yeah, exactly. It is somebody else, not Tom Hanks, but it's right there. Anyways, I better not discredit anyone or credit anyone in either direction. Right. Yeah, it is incredible. And the more I've been learning about it, I've loved to do research. So since early 2010, basically, I dove straight into the whys, the hows, the whats of autism. How can I unlock this, and help my child be better for him, whatever would serve him better. And in doing so, I mean, we've really learned how to take our own boundaries away, how to challenge ourselves with our limits, to remove those limits and remove those ideas of society's normal behaviors or normal family activities and things like that. In our house, we don't have a dinner time. We don't have a bedtime per se, because some of our sleepers sleep for 5 hours at a time. And yeah, it's like this chaos. And I call it the moon cycle. Somebody's either awake on a full moon or asleep on a full moon. It's just never the same day twice.
Is this a common trait? Because you might know that. I was the same way. My daughter who has ADHD, the same way. Not now, but when I was her age, and she is this likeness now, the last one to go to sleep and the first one to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Is that a common trait?
And I think, with my husband being able to look at it as an adult and be able to hear his perspective on it, which is so valuable of a perspective to be able to see, he only needs 5 hours of sleep and he's done. He doesn't need the whole 8 hours. Like me, do not get me up at 7 hours and 30 minutes. Like, I'm not ready, I need the whole thing. But his brain, and our son, who has a photographic memory, was reading at 1, he was writing at 2, and then at 3, we recognized that he had the photographic memory when he would write down all of the things he saw within the world and bring it home and write it all over our walls in our house. And so we started recognizing quickly that, and I am an over fanatical about education. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm teaching him everything. So at 4, he had learned all the states, the countries, the periodic table of elements, a little bit of anatomy here and there. And then I found really great educational materials that he loved that taught him basically 1st through 9th grade material, languages, social studies, science, math, English, everything. And so he was 6 years old, proofreading. He was doing lots of editing and proofreading and loving that, speaking multiple languages. He's now 11 and he speaks over 25 languages. He's constantly speaking in other languages, which I don't know. I'm learning a lot, definitely.
Is there a correlation between memory and ADHD and autism? Because
I think so.
I have a memory like that. I've interviewed somebody on my podcast that has they're one of the first people diagnosed with hyperthymesia, which is a memory condition. She autobiographical memory, remembers every single day of her life, and she has ADHD. And then also a friend of mine who has autism on the spectrum. He drew in high school, he drew a map to scale by memory of the San Fernando Valley, which I don't know if it's as big as LA is. The valley is pretty big. So
DJ draws maps of Russia and all of their different districts and rivers.
Why Russia?
I don't know. He just loves geography. He loves, I think, just with, a lot of things, he loves that it doesn't ever change. It's very, very, stays the same all the time. So it's very comfortable for him. But he just went into this huge obsession with learning all these languages and countries they belong to. And so, Russian for a while. So we learned a little bit of Russian. Lately, it's been a little bit of German, but he also teaches himself piano. He plays and does music composition theory. He plays the piano.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And he's 11 and he plays, he won't play on command. In fact, I was doing a podcast and somebody asked him, can you play the piano? What's your favorite song? And, he couldn't answer that because I don't think he has a favorite. He loves music notes. That's what he loves. And so the guy said, well, can you play chopsticks? And he looked at the guy and he said, A twice, G 6 times, and he laid out the pattern of the keys verbally for this guy. And I was just like, what? Like, did you hear that? It's the funniest thing. He's constantly surprising us, teaching us, you know, and yeah, it's amazing when you hear that part of it, but you'll also have to honor the part that, you know, he has extreme food aversions. He has a limited diet, limited sleep, like we were just talking. You know, he has problems opening his water bottle, putting his pants or shoes on, make sure his shirt isn't on backwards. Like, I kind of joke that it's like his little brain is so many computer tabs open at once that the computer's not functioning properly, right? It's doing all the thinking. It's not losing any of that information. It just keeps going and going and going.
We've all shown up to work with our shirt inside out, haven't we?
Right. There's no harm
Once
there.
in a while.
No, he's a fascinating kiddo. And I mean, just the multitude of fascinating stories and just awareness that this has helped me to be able to bring. So I love it.
Awesome.
Well, tell us about your podcast and all the links and everything so that I can make sure to put that down in the description so that people can go and check out your podcast.
Well, you can go to longshotleaders.com and you'll see, you know, all our episodes, of course, are right there. You know, there's an About Us page that'll tell you everything about the podcast. Anybody that does have a long shot story, somebody that's overcome large obstacles to find success, we want to hear from you because we want to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Just, you know, we've had everyone sent to a Holocaust survivor to, you know, Academy Award, you know, winning actor to just somebody that escaped Africa, you know, so
wow.
All kinds of people, you know, the full gamut, you know, from every industry you can imagine. We do an episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we're interested just to find real people anywhere on the planet that have great long shot stories. And, you know, so they can go to longshotleaders.com. There's a form on the contact us page. And that's where you can go. We just, today, our mutual friend, today we have Bruce Valanche.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have Gail Kingsbury, who on Friday, who is a personal development leader. And then we have 90-year-old legend acting teacher Eric Morris, who's on his 10th book. He has been teaching people around the world, but he's out of Los Angeles. His first book was he and Jack Nicholson wrote together, No Acting Please, and that's Eric Morris, and he's on the podcast on Friday.
That's exciting. I'm really excited. And this will probably come out a couple weeks after, but go back and listen to those ones so that you can hear them for sure. Thank you so much for joining me today. I think we covered a lot of scattered topics, which is fantastic, right?
Which is apropos.
Exactly. It shows exactly what we needed to follow, that no rule lifestyle.
Yeah. And that you made me feel at home.
Oh, thanks. I'm so glad you said that. You know, getting to know people and making connections is my superpower. So I hope that I can continue to keep doing this for as long as I can. Definitely. It was such a pleasure to meet you and to have you on the show. And I hope we can stay connected.
Pleasure likewise. Thank you.
Yeah. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Kind of guy that keeps you warm at night when you are cold. I'll grab some blankets from my bed, wrap them around your chest, now pull you close. We'll flip some channels to find out there's nothing on right now to ease your mind. Sit back, relax, there is no rush, no need to speed things up. All we have is time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. alive, and everything else in between. Just trust my heart, you'll see. We're slowly coming. Time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. Mm-hmm. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes and spring goes, forever you will know that I love you. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes and spring goes, forever you will know that I love you.